Your average 50-year-old is totally hung up with what somebody thinks about them, and you don't give a shit.
It never wasn't even a thought. We were never like, what are people going to think? If you're still talking about people nowadays and you're not supporting them and you're kind of like, what are they doing? I don't need to be involved with you anyways.
I care so little bit about anyone else's opinion. Everyone's going to have it. One day I'm going to die. So why am I going to worry about what you had to say this minute when one day we're not going to be here?
Because with that said, you can just go and do whatever and put out. Yeah, kid, welcome back to another episode of the Handsome Homebuyer Podcast. My name is Charles, aka the Handsome Homebuyer, formerly owner of Captain Permit, but we still love him anyway, right? Yeah. 516-513-8838. We love him sometimes, most of the time. So if you need a permit, give him a call. It's worth a shot. Obviously, if you have a house that smells like cat pee dated from the 1960s, Greg?
You're quick, you're easy, you're a good time. You want to buy it?
Yes. 516-777. Sold. All right, Nick and Nat. Nat and Nick. I like it.
How do you sit in a house that smells like cat pee?
I don't. I go in, it stinks. I walk around, I walk out. The good news is, so before this, I was in the body shop business. I owned a Mako. You guys are too young to even know what Mako is.
Yeah, no idea.
Fuck, how old are you guys?
It's a boat?
No.
Oh.
It's a shark. I guess it is a boat also.
It is a boat.
It's probably a lot of different things. But in this case, and it was MAACO, not MAKO. So it was, it's a body shop franchise where they paint cars. How old are you guys?
18.
19.
So you know everything in your life, you guys don't know this because you're really young, but you have to walk this path. And then sometimes you're going through something, you're like, this is fucking bullshit. Why am I doing this? This sucks. And then 10 years later, you realize oh yeah, that really sucked, but I had to do it because I wouldn't be where I am today without going through whatever that was, right? Trials, tribulations, etc. So in my case, I worked in a paint shop, owned a paint shop for 10 years. I lost 40% of my sense of smell from the paint because it's obviously really potent shit. So it equipped me perfectly for a career in buying houses that stink like cat pee. So when I go in there, I don't really smell it in the same way you do. You walk in there, you're like, this is disgusting, possible vomit. I walk in there, business as usual. Yes. So that's how it works. So you guys are new to real estate. You're on the O'Neill team, Signature Premier Properties. Congratulations.
Thank you.
1,800 agents at Signature going strong.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been an admirer of yours for some time now. And I was actually in the middle of making a clip about you guys because you guys are just raw, putting out content. So very impressive because your average 50-year-old is totally hung up with what somebody thinks about them. But you guys are 18 and 19 and you don't give a shit.
No.
You're just out there.
It never wasn't even a thought. We were never like, what are people going to think? Doesn't matter. Because honestly, I mean, if you're still talking about people nowadays and you're not supporting them and you're kind of like, what are they doing? I mean, I don't need to be involved with you anyways.
Yeah, say it, sister. I like it.
I care so little, well, not to sound terribly, but I care so little bit about anyone else's opinion because it's everyone's going to have it. And one day I'm going to die. So why am I going to worry about what you had to say this minute when one day we're not going to be here? So
I mean, it's smart. It makes sense. It's just very rare.
Yeah.
So it's just very rare at your age. I feel that way, but I'm 44. I felt that way at 28, 32. I'm not sure if I felt that way at 18. At 18, that's very impressive. So you're very lucky that you have that because that's probably 90% of the battle. Because with that said, you can just go and do whatever and put out content in the Seaford strip mall. And who knows what's going to happen, where the average person's shit, my hair, my teeth, my nose, whatever.
We don't even plan it. No, because we went to Huntington, the strip. And we went there to just film, I guess, what's going on there, the restaurants. And then I'm like, should we go up to people and ask them why they love it here? And he's like, all right, go. So as we went up to some random guy, he had one tooth. He's
yeah, I'm pretty sure we walked up to the hobo as the first guy.
No,
he was nice though.
He was great. Yeah, he was a nice guy. And we were like, why do you love it here? And honestly, no one said no. Everyone was like, all right, yeah, we'll be a part of it. I guess it's if you're just approaching them, you're confident, hey, we're realtors. We just want to see what you love about it here. If you could just let us know. And they were like, okay.
Yeah, of course. Makes sense. Most people that you approach have more social anxiety about having a conversation than you do with them. Mm-hmm. So how did you guys get started in real estate though? Because you're how long have you been in real estate for?
With the O'Neill team, a month. And then prior to that, and it's 2 months overall, but in it 100% was
So you
a month. Yeah.
Yeah. You just started straight into it.
Yeah.
So you're 18 years old. You graduate high school. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Seaford.
Oh yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Wantua? What? We were rivals? Where'd you go?
JFK. I'm from Merritt.
Oh, Kennedy?
Yeah.
South?
Yes.
Really? Interesting. All right. So, how do you guys get into real estate? Because you graduate, a lot of kids are going to college, right? I mean, I went to 4 colleges.
I'm on my 3rd.
Didn't learn shit from 3 out of the 4 of them, but had to go to get my master's degree at NYU, which actually I learned stuff from. But aside from that, I didn't. You're in college?
I'm at Nassau.
Okay. Went to Nassau. It was awesome.
No. Well,
Still no parking spots.
so, I'm online. So I went to Hofstra, went to Malloy,
Went there
now I'm
too.
at Nassau. But like you said, like everyone's going to college, everyone's going to Ohio State, Penn State, and you almost feel like you have to like also do that. You also feel like everyone, like that's the status, like go away, party, have fun. I don't drink, don't smoke, hate all that. Like never did that. Like once in a, I mean, you know, like when you're young, but senior year, I was like, all right, what am I doing with my life? Let's get it together. And then, I went to college and I was like, all right, these colleges are all the same. I should have just went to Nassau. My parents said, go to Nassau. I was like, oh, what are people like that? At that point, I was like, what are people going to think? Like everyone says like Nassau, 2-year community
I love
college.
Nassau. I would go back.
Yeah. I go there now and I'm like, all right, I get my work done for the week. I'm ahead like 2 weeks ahead because I go all online and I could prioritize real estate.
Nice. What about you there, big guy?
I'm a terrible student. I mean, I don't know if you were bad, but just from how we're talking, you were probably a bad kid in school.
Bad.
I was such a bad student. I mean, I'd intentionally fight with my teachers just to
JFK.
leave
Are you
class.
Jewish? You got to be Jewish.
No, I'm Catholic.
They let you in there? Kennedy's all Jewish kids.
Yep. But
Wow.
no, I was so bad at school. I knew I hated it. I would get kicked out of class purposely.
Really?
Like I was such a bad student, and I knew it. Like I hated school. And then I went to like a semester of college, and I'm like, I'm not wasting my time. I'm like, this is all a complete waste of time. I knew in the beginning. I'm like,
Where'd you go to school? Where'd you go to college?
Nassau
Okay.
for a semester. I was like, I know no matter what I do is gonna be a waste of time because what I want, I'm not gonna learn from school. Which I want a business. I'm like, I'm not gonna learn how to run a business, how to open a business, how to do anything in school because school teaches you how to think one-minded. And when you're in business, you have to think open-minded, outside of the box, and all these different ways so that you stand out. And school doesn't teach you that. School says, this is the question, A, B, C, D, which one's right? And it's like, okay, here's the questions. A, B, C, D are all right, but why are they right? Why are they wrong? And which one stands out better than all the other ones? So I was like, school's not for me. And then, yeah.
No, listen, I'm 44, so obviously when I was growing up, it was different. We didn't have like TikTok, the internet. We didn't have any of that stuff. So you went to college because that's what you're supposed to do. I mostly went to college because I didn't want to grow up. So I was trying to like just push off growing up so I could surf as much as possible for as long as possible. So that's why I went to college. But in theory, when I really think back on it, I didn't learn anything.
Yeah.
And I went to Hofstra. I went to Nassau. And most of the teachers that are teaching you, like, they don't know shit either.
Yeah.
Or anything they do, like, oh, history, this, that. None of that stuff is going to benefit you in the real world if you're looking to go into business. If you're looking to go into like something very specialized, like if you want to be a teacher, okay, you need a degree. If you want to be a doctor, you need a degree. You want to be a lawyer, you need a degree. If you want to go into business or sales or whatever, you don't need any of that shit.
Yeah, I realized that because I switched to business and then I'm like, all right, maybe I'll learn something. Maybe it'll be hands-on.
Nope.
And then you get there and it's like
Dude's never run a business in his
No.
life. Your teacher's freaking never run a business in his life.
nothing.
Honestly, you learn more on YouTube than you do in anything else.
Facts.
Like half the stuff I know is just listening to someone off YouTube, and like I'll make sure I listen to 2 different people's opinions. One person saying why, one person saying why not, and I'll be like, okay, what point makes more sense according to logic? I like logic.
So, how did you know from like what point did you know, hey, I want to be in business? Because you guys are really young.
My parents. So my dad owns a restaurant. He owns a plumbing business, and then my uncles own businesses, my cousins own businesses. So it's really like I've been around it my whole life. My dad's always busy. Like he wasn't the dad that was going to come to a sporting event, or I mean, he was super busy, and now he owns a restaurant. So now he's managing 2 businesses. So I helped him out. Last year, I ran the business for him, his food restaurant, and I was doing the food orders. I was doing the counter. I was doing the back, and I was like, I love this. Like, I love being around people. I like being in charge. I like seeing the way things go, taking risks. And I was like, I might as well pursue this somewhere else where like I could be in charge and I could take it from there.
So why real estate?
Because like I said, I like people, and I want to like make a mark somewhere. And I think that helping people through like one of the biggest milestones in their life would be something memorable for not only me, but them. And like people can remember me as someone that like help them and was willing to go out of their way, like 110%.
Oh, you don't let her go, bro. You let her go. Like you put that down, somebody else is picking it up. Did you see that? What's that movie with the rest of the movie with what's his name with the busted up face who used to be good looking? We were just talking about it.
Ironclaw?
Yeah. Did you see that movie?
No.
Did you see that movie?
No.
Did you see that movie? Nobody. And Iron Claw, the main character, the only brother that doesn't die, meets this girl and brings her home to meet the family. And the father looks at him and says, she's a keeper. Don't put that one down. If you put that one down, someone's going to pick it up.
Well, we're both the two people who like to be in charge. We're both very like strong-headed. So that's like one thing that gets very interesting.
You both Italian?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's wars, huh?
Wars.
Really?
Sometimes.
It's not like
It's-
they're weird because like we'll get mad at each other, we'll get heated, and then like I'll look at her and we won't look at each other because we're trying not to laugh. Because like we know it's so stupid, like why we're arguing or anything.
Yeah, our fights
So
are
we'll-
usually, if they're like anything business related, it's more like we're trying to better like each other. Like I'll be like he'll be doing something else. Like let's say he's watching a video, like a cold calling video, like getting some like, I'm like, all right, like let's call people, like let's go door knock. And he's like, then that's when we get into a fight. Like he's doing this, I'm doing this, but like it's just because we want to like better each
Yeah.
other, really.
So out of curiosity, because how old are your parents? Your parents are probably
Mine
what,
are
like-
old. Mine are old.
Oh.
My dad's 65 and my mom's
Wow.
57.
Wow. Okay.
Mhm.
How old are your parents?
Like 40s, 50s.
Okay.
I
They're like
think
my age. Like you could be my son, pretty much.
pretty much.
So damn, it's like it's an interesting moment. Like it's a moment when you realize, like,
You're
oh,
old.
they're like grown ass adult people, and they could be that could be my son right there. You know, this isn't hitting you as hard as it's hitting me. Not old enough to anyway. The point is, so your parents grew up in a totally different world.
Mhm.
Your parents are my age, so like they're kind of 50-50. How do your parents feel about you just being like, school isn't for me, I'm just I'm doing this?
You might want to take this one out.
No, I mean we can keep it in. My parent, I don't speak to any of my family anymore.
All right.
Any of my like
Over this?
yeah.
Wow.
So but like for me, it's like it's so weird. I don't know why, if it was expected or if this was just like for me, like for some reason it's like, all right, this is just a part of the plan. Like because I know where I want to be, like I know what I want to do and where I want to be. And when like they started to like block it and like they weren't there to support it, that's when I really realized there's a difference between blood and family, and the support wasn't there, the help wasn't there, and it was just like, so I started to just be like, all right, going off my own, like I'm gonna do my own thing. Then everything blew up to where it's like now we live together, we do everything together. But like one thing that was really good about that one moment was because now I know no matter what we go through, she'll be by my side and like she'll be there to support me no matter what. Like I think that's why some people think it's crazy that we're like doing it together at such a young age. And like for us, it's like what we've gone through. Like there's no doubt in my head that if something goes wrong, she'll be there to like have my back.
Damn. You guys are like 18 going on 50. Like that's some real shit.
Yeah.
I give you a lot of credit, man. There's a lot of people that can't do that at like 40, 50, 60 years old. There's a lot of people that are impacted by their parents' opinion forever. Right. And to your point, just because someone's your family and you like love them doesn't mean you have to like them. And then doesn't necessarily mean that they have your best interest in mind or that they can even see what you're seeing.
That they're also I also think that they were very like controlling. Like
Okay.
all of my siblings wanted to do this specific job and they're not. They're working for my parents.
Got
Like
it.
they wanted to do this. They had these goals and it was like shut down. And then now everyone's working for my mom. My brother's working for my mom. My sister has a job because of my mom.
Yeah.
And I was always the odd man out. Like,
Yeah. I mean, playing devil's advocate, I get it. I'm not a parent, but obviously you want to take care of your kids. You see something that's safe and stable. You've made money doing something, but you can't like force your kids into doing something that they don't necessarily want to do, because if they give up their dreams, they're going to eventually resent you. So, and it's very possible that you circle back and have a much better relationship with your parents later as a result. Believe it or not, you never know what happens. Like they might understand and respect what you did, and you'll be doing the things that you want to do. So you'll feel good about it, as opposed to your siblings might just follow in that path and then later on have resentment because they didn't get to do what they wanted to do because they were pressured and they weren't strong enough to say like, I'm out, going to live with my rock and we're getting this shit done. Selling real estate, baby.
Well, it wasn't more like I'm out. It was more like
Get
Get out. I think it's a good thing.
no, say like I see it as like I always see the positive in everything. So if there's something that goes wrong,
Mhm.
I see the good in it. Like if I fail at something, I'm like, yes. Like, yes, now I know that doesn't work. Or now I know that doesn't work, but this works. I love the idea of like failing and like being put in these like situations because I always see the opportunity in it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you're a G. You guys are going to be stars. Like I tell you right now, you're going to be stars. No question. I'm telling you. I've had 200 plus people on this thing. I know you guys are going to be stars. No question. Just keep that shit going. So just to kind of touch back on social media before, right? And this is kind of like, well, it's your story together, but
Yeah.
just to address you and for the moment, you said to me, "Oh, what could we talk about?" Right? Here's the thing: when you're putting stuff out on social media, like, can you get a more like what are the requirements to get a mortgage, or you know, what are 3 things that first-time home buyers should look out for, or what are things you should look at when interviewing an agent? All that stuff. Most people aren't interested in that.
Agreed.
It's cool that you have that stuff there because once they get to your page, they see what you do and they'll be like, oh, this is great. They're a resource. I should call them and talk to them because I know they do real estate. But ultimately, people are attracted to and connect with things that they can relate to. So what I really think you should do is, and one of the things I think you should do is I think you should be sharing that story like at scale. People should know about it. People should, because here's the thing. It's going to touch a lot of people in a lot of different ways. Now, you may or may not feel comfortable about doing that, but I guarantee you, if you share that story, it will have a massive impact on your business. I'll give you.
Well, I just did. I'm open to it.
But yeah. So obviously here, but just like regularly, it should be your, like it is your story, right? It's real. So I'll give you a real life example. So when I was 35, I sort of got married and then sort of got divorced. Well, no, I sort of got married. So I was dating this girl. We got engaged. We had a wedding. And then a week after the wedding, she's like, I don't think we should be married. I think we should break up. Now, very traumatic, highly traumatic. I was probably fucked up for like 3 years over that. The point is this, that I'm somebody that likes to talk, obviously. And I can't like repress. Like I'm not one of these people that could like suffer in silence. I like suffer in verbal diarrhea, which makes everybody else suffer.
I'm that way too. My
Watch
mom
Greg-
always says
Greg
that.
nod. Maybe it's an Italian thing. So I would share that with I was so upset. I was so emotional about the whole thing that I would just talk about it with everybody because I just had to get it out. Like it was just so much pain. I just had to get it out, And when you're vulnerable with people and you share things that are like super, super personal, it allows you to form like a very deep, fast connection with people because everybody has their own shit. And most of the time, people's shit is way worse than yours. Like you'll tell somebody about your problem and then they'll come back and be like, that's fucked up, man. Well, let me tell you what I'm going through. You'd be like, you keep that shit. Like I'll keep my shit. You keep your shit.
That's also what keeps everything like if when I would ever go through like if I'd go through a problem, I would never. That's why I never shared it because I was like, someone's going through something worse.
Yeah.
It's like I don't like I also that's why when I had friends, if they shared their problems with me, for some reason I'd be like, please leave me alone. Like I was just known as like not a mean person, but it was like everyone goes through their own problems. So I never speak about my problems onto other people because you never know what they're going through. So that's why I don't really say it to other people or bring problems onto other people. But also like when other people tell their problems, and this is like in my generation, like when people say problems nowadays, like now it's like, it's half the time it's a lie.
Their friend
just
hooked up
looking
with somebody
for
something like
for
that.
I mean, it's
attention.
trivial.
It's like,
But I mean, you guys are way more mature for your age and you're dealing with a lot of shit that like most people don't deal with at 18 years old. So, I mean, obviously you have friends, people just want to vent, you be there for them, right?
that's different.
But there's nothing wrong with, I mean, I would encourage you to share what you guys are going through for so many different reasons. I mean, it might help a parent who's in a similar situation understand their kid more. And somebody maybe doesn't need to go through what you went through because of that. It might help other kids that have went through it understand that they're not the only people that are going through it. It might help people that are in the middle of that happening work it out. And then people rally around the underdog, right? People rally around, they want an emotional connection to something. They rally around that type of thing. Now, I'm not saying talk about it every 2 seconds, so it's like a try hard type of thing, but I do think it is something that should be discussed and shared and should not be, kind of held close to the vest, because I think it's something that it's cathartic. I think you might feel better by sharing it. And then B, I think it'll cause people to rally around you and ultimately want to work with you because they like what's going on. Mm-hmm. It's like, what sounds better? Like this is the start to the movie, right? Young couple in love, kid doesn't want to go to college, parents don't understand, they throw him out of the house. He's like living in his girlfriend's house. Parents are super cool letting it happen. They decide to become realtors. They go from having like $50 in their bank account to selling like fucking multi-million dollars, properties and having all this money. And it's the American dream and success story.
Mm-hmm. Pretty cool.
Exactly.
That's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
But now think about it. If you're somebody who has a house who's been following along with that type of story and you're like, you know what, I got to sell a house, or you know what, I have to buy a house. You know what, I'm going to call those two because I can fuck with them. Like I get what's going on with them and I want to support that journey. Like I'm watching them every day and they're making content and they're doing this and they're doing that. And like she's fucking going to college online and working in the restaurant at night and they're like banging out cold calls during the day, right? We got to help these people. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's ultimately the stuff that like people will be drawn to.
Mm-hmm.
Having like the real estate education stuff so they understand what you do and see the value in what you do and that you're competent has to be there. But that's not what gets people excited.
Yeah.
Like nobody gives a shit when I talk about, how to become independently wealthy in 3 steps. What they care about is what's the hottest new Italian restaurant? Mm-hmm. That's what they care about.
What is the hottest new Italian restaurant?
Well, it's not new, but La Valletta is my favorite Italian restaurant. It's the most underrated Italian restaurant. 500,000 views, I think, at this point. But that's not the point. The point is that's the kind of stuff that you guys should talk about. So let's get into it, right? Because this is your time. And I know that you're on the O'Neill team, and I have a lot of respect for Dan O'Neill. But in general, as new realtors, nobody tells you shit. Yeah. You don't know anything. They don't teach you shit. You take a test, they give you a license, you're like, all right, great, now you're running your own business. You're like, what the fuck am I supposed to do here? Like, how do I do this? How do I get business? What is going on?
Yeah, that's pretty much what, sometimes we're just like, all right, what do we do? Because like we know what to do. I mean, we have the ideas in place, we have the structure, the organization in place, but it's just a matter of like putting it, like actually doing it. Like no one teaches you how to pick up the phone and call, but obviously you can't really like get taught that because everyone talks differently. It's everyone's picking up the phone differently. What works for them might not work for us. So we're really learning how to we're really learning what works for us, to say the least.
It's 90% action. Everything else is bullshit. It doesn't matter. Like if somebody has a perfect script and calls for 1 hour a day and you have a jacked up script and you call for 6 hours a day, you're going to do more business than they are. Action is ultimately first of all, you have to learn through action. And then action gets results. That's it. So just call.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on? This is Nat. So, hey, John, this is Nat. Are you interested in buying or selling a home? Are you interested in buying or selling a home? Whatever. Like very just like generic. Doesn't matter. No, fuck myself. Cool. Hey, sir, this is Nat. For Signature Premier Properties, we have a lot of buyers in the area. Are you interested in buying your home? Do you know anybody who's interested in selling their home? Are you interested in selling a home? Whatever. Boom. Fuck yourself. All right, go. Next. You make 300 of those every single day. You're going to do business. Yeah. It's that simple. You make videos every single day. You're going to get business. But it takes 3 to 5 years to build a business. So I'm sure you guys are in a rush to do it, but it doesn't happen overnight. And it's like consistently stacking up little things on top of each other over and over and over and over and over again. Seeing down the road that it's going to be successful when nobody else thinks it's going to be successful. Like everyone's like, kid, you shot, go back to your parents, tell them you're sorry, move back into your bedroom, go work in the family business or go to college. That's what they're saying. This real estate thing isn't for you. Fuck those people, right? Before I ever flipped a house, someone's like, kid, you can't flip a house. you're nuts. It's never going to happen. 500 houses later, right? Biggest operation in Long Island, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be able to see it. Can you see the results?
Oh,
like,
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
like
Every
clearly.
day.
You could see it.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Like that and the process. So we have our goal. We have the processes that we believe are what we need in place. And every day we go through with it. We can tweak our process goals and just to end up getting to our end result. But
There's days where we're like, all right, like I can't do this. I mean, like I'll be honest, like there's sometimes I'm like calling, you get hung up on, you get a little discouraged. You're like what are we gonna do? Like, is this for us? But like it is for us. Like this is 110% what we want to do. Like we'll do we literally texted Dan the other day. We're like, Dan, we'll do anything. Like we'll do 500 CMAs if that means that we could price a home like accurately 100%. Like we want to take on anything. We want to be challenged. Like today, Dan was like, you two are gonna you'll help host my open house Saturday and Sunday. Starts at 12, get there at 10, and door knock the neighborhood. Like hell yeah, like
Done.
that. We're there.
like
We're already there.
the one thing that I hate is when I'm not learning something, and that's when I get frustrated. Is when like I feel like I'm not learning something new that's gonna help me better myself.
Mm-hmm.
So like that, I think that's where a lot of like my frustration comes in. If like if I'm at a point and then I'm not learning like something new and something how I'm getting better, that's when I get mad. I'm like, what am I doing wrong that I'm not learning something new today?
You just feel stuck.
Yeah, no, I get it. Being stagnant is the worst thing. And a lot of people get stuck in that place. The fact that you're always moving, like that's what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about action.
Mm-hmm.
And if you bust your ass, you can do a lot in a very, very short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So like, what's the ultimate goal, right? Like, do you like real estate? Do you want to be in real estate forever? Is it on the sales side? Is it on the investing side? Like, what is it? Like, what do you ultimately want to do?
Real estate forever. I mean, the big goal, where we really want to get to is hopefully opening a brokerage one day. Something like that. Like, opening a brokerage.
Our goal is a brokerage. So going through it, learning as much as we can, because these first few years really mean, like for us, it really doesn't mean that much. It's a learning opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, it means a lot, but it's a learning opportunity. And that's the way we see it. And it doesn't really start until we're at that point where we open up our brokerage. Like that's our ultimate goal. We're going to open up a brokerage one day. We're going to have that. And right now is just the steps, the learning, so that when we get there, that's when it really starts. That's when it really takes off.
So do you have a strong kind of opinion on what you would do in your brokerage, like what brokers should be offering that they're not, or you guys you're not there yet. You just want to have a brokerage at some point.
Well,
it's like a mix.
Yeah.
Like
the other day we talked about how we would want to take on new agents, like agents who are our age, like people who want to get into the business, take them under our wing. And like, if we have a listing, like, hey, jump on our listing, like do all the work for us. And like, well, obviously you'll get a percentage, like just like that, like hands-on, because you can't learn in this business if you're not hands-on. I mean, it's impossible. Like you need to go through the process once. We never bought a home. Like we need to go through the process in order to understand it. Like we texted Greg, you know, Greg.
Yeah, I love Greg.
We were like, Greg, like, can you just sit down with us for like a couple hours a week and just tell us what's going on with like the market, what's going on with the rates, just so we're like more knowledgeable. Like we just want to put so much knowledge into other people when we open that brokerage so that like they could take off. Because we actually watched something and it was like a lot of people who go on teams are structured how to be on that team, how to pick up the phone, how to respond, rather than like how to actually be a solo agent and how to take those skills and then implement them if you do go down the line and open a brokerage, want to start your own team. Mm-hmm. So we want to take people not really, you know, like control them.
We want a brokerage where it's you're a solo agent, you have that full option, but you have the support and the backing of a team as like a proper team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like you have the systems, you have the support, and you have the resources available to you so that you can go and become something great, but you're not like so tied into it as in like a team was. Like I'm not going to train you on how to be a team. I'm going to train you on how to better yourself and become a great agent. Mm-hmm. And like I know it. Like there's no doubt in my head that I'm going to get to a point where I'm selling 100 houses a year. Like it's not like oh, if it happens, it's just like when it happens, because it's going to happen. There's nothing about it. And I know when it happens, I'm going to show other agents how to do the same. Yeah. Like I know that I'm going to be great in real estate because no one else, truthfully, no one else is going to outwork me. And I'm more than willing to put in days of work if that means I'm going to get somewhere. Mm-hmm. So like I know I know that this business is going to be great for me because I want to put all this work in. I have all this energy. I have all this dedication to put work into it. And so it's just like now when it happens, because I'm willing to do it.
Yeah.
Fuck. That's what I'm talking about.
Good stuff.
That's what I need. That's what real estate needs, man. Now you're like the top 0.0001%. Like that's what it takes. The problem is there's not a lot of people that think that way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference. You know, and that's why Brian Karp does 205 houses a year and everybody else doesn't. So that's really what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really a matter of what you're willing to give up to get there.
Yeah. I mean, we've given up a lot.
I'm willing to give up. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're willing to give up a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's what we want. It's not like we have this, like even tied into it, like just our whole life and like what we see, which I think is really nice for us because we see everything like weirdly, like we want the same outcome. We want the same stuff. And I think that's why we click really well because like we have the same goals. We want to work really hard towards something so that one day, if one day our kids can be like, oh, okay, I can either take over this business or my dad, or I know I can go start a business and my dad's going to support me. Like my son, when I have my kids, if he comes to me and goes, I want to start a business, I'm going to be like, all right, here's a card. You go start the business. And if you need anything emergency wise, like I'll cover you as long as you're actually out there putting the work in and trying to build something. Not like saying, oh, I want a business, but actually growing and trying to build something great. Like I want to be that person who will support you.
That's a beautiful thing. How did you guys meet anyway?
The gym.
In the gym?
I got a stalker.
You picked her up in the gym or she picked you up? You picked her up in the gym?
No.
I mean, vice versa?
No.
Yes.
I didn't pick you up. He was like,
What gym is this?
Crunch.
So I was a trainer at Crunch in Belmore.
Yeah.
I was a boxing coach. I showed
it.
people how to box.
And I was working out with one of my friends and I was doing a wall sit and he was like standing over there and I'm like, oh, when you do a wall sit, like, do you put your back against the wall or like a little off? And he's like, what? And I was like, oh shit. He actually answered and he's like, what'd you say? And I was like, so then we went into this whole little conversation. Like there was other people in the conversation, but we were just going at the conversation. So it was like, no one else was around, just us talking. And then he was like, what are you going to look me up on Instagram? And I was like,
because she asked
no.
my name.
Yeah,
She
I was
asked
like, what's
my
your name? And
So I
he
said,
didn't
"What, are you
ask
gonna look me
mine.
up?" I forgot to ask what her name was.
I was like,
But
what's
my
your name? He's like,
response
Nick.
was-
And then he's like, why? Are you going to look me up on Instagram? And I was like, no. So I didn't because I was like, he's waiting for the follow. So I was like, all right, I won't follow him. So then like the next day or day later, he's like, you didn't follow him on Instagram. I'm like, and he's like, all right, here's my number.
Wait. She goes, I go, you didn't follow me on Instagram. She goes, you didn't even ask for my name. I'm like, all right, you got a point.
And then, yeah, he gave me his number and then.
That was it.
No, I gave her my Snapchat.
Yeah. And I used
she,
Snapchat.
fuck,
Yeah.
She got the ick from it. She said, she was like, Snap. But this was also like,
I didn't
guess-
use Snapchat. So I was like, Snapchat.
I'm so detached. Is this what goes on? Like that's how people like. Yeah.
I mean, now it is. Yeah, this whole Snap. I mean, I don't even have
Nobody
Snapchat
gives
anymore.
anybody their phone number.
Yeah, I thought
It was-
he gave me, I don't have it anymore, but
I don't.
yeah, he doesn't have it either. So, but
Instagram. That's what it is. Can I get your Instagram?
yeah, people do that because they like to see the pictures first.
That I never understood. The whole idea, like the Instagram.
I'm feeling old right now. So, what? As we close out, because we've been going for like an hour already. Believe it or not, these things go fast.
They do.
Is there anything else I can help you with, or any other questions you have that I could answer for you that
yeah, I have
you
a
feel give you
question.
value?
So like, I feel we're doing a lot. Like we're calling, we're doing everything you should be doing. Door knocking, we're trying to get our name out there, get a brand. But do you think that it's better to focus on one thing, go 110 on one thing, or do
What does that mean?
like go 110% on calling and just do calling, or like do everything? Is that too much to do everything? Like to door knock, to do social media, to call, like.
No, if you could do it, do it. Because it's like you can't just put out content on Instagram and not put out content on LinkedIn, because even though you have all of them, there are people that don't. So different things are going to hit people differently. For example, you don't look through direct mail, you see it, you throw it out. But a 65-year-old person opens up direct mail. So if you can do all of it, do all of it. I think the important thing is to plan and schedule accordingly to maximize those things.
Yeah.
So if you lay out your entire marketing plan and you say, these are all the things I want to do. And then you would have a system for that. So you would say, hey, I want to dominate Seaford. Like I want to be the best agent, the number one agent in Seaford. So you would figure out who the number one agent in Seaford was. And then you see how many deals that person did. And then you would take their picture and put it on your wall. And then every day you would look at it and be like, I'm fucking coming for you.
Yeah.
And then you would put together a plan on like how you were going to take over Seaford.
Yeah.
So for door knocking, for cold calling, you would divide up Seaford into sections and you would look to door knock everybody in Seaford 4 times a year. And you would put a map together and you guys would walk that map. Same thing for cold calling. You go to MLS and you pull out, there's 5,000 people that live in Seaford. You get their phone numbers, you get on the dialer like Mojo or whatever that is. And then you would call them and you would have follow-up set up and you would call them every month or every 3 months or whatever it was. And then, but let's say like Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, you'd cold call for 4 hours. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, you door knock for 6 hours. You put out, 3 pieces of content per day on all platforms. And Wednesday afternoon, you shoot content from 8 to 9. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You put together like a comprehensive plan that makes sense and you follow it. And if you do that, you can cram a lot. You can be efficient and you can do a lot of shit.
Yeah.
The more you do, the more people see your face, the more conversations you have, the more business you're going to do. Real estate is a straight up popularity contest. It's that fucking simple. If somebody likes you and they want to like be around you, they will hire you. That's it. You could suck at what you do. If they like you, they will hire you. So your job is to get in front of as many people as physically possible and have as many conversations with as many people as physically possible. Go to 2, 3, 4 networking events a week, create content at the ass, interview business owners, cold call, door knock, text people, do everything. Literally everything. But you have to be strategic about the way you do it because otherwise you're like wasting time and energy.
Yeah.
So we're trying to do that. Like if you looked at our calendar, we are time blocking, like post video here, make calls here. But I think we just have to tweak it to be a little bit better.
Yeah.
More realistic. And then I have one last question about like, obviously when you go on a listing presentation, like when you're going on a listing appointment and you're doing the presentation, you're going through all of that and you're showing your value as an agent and what you can offer. But with us, if we don't have the experience, like, do we just, like, what do you recommend? Like, just show us our value as people? Because, like, what if someone's like, oh, what's your experience in the industry?
So I'm not going to give you an answer, but I'm going to give you a hint, something to think about. So forget about the age thing. Well, the age thing is, don't let it affect you, but it's real. So since you guys are so young, people are going to judge you. They're just going to judge you because that's what they do. People judge you. So it's really important for you guys to be you have to be better, like 100% better than everybody else because you're already operating from damage control because someone's going to say, hey, they're 19 years old, 18 years old. Like, I'm not going to trust my biggest investment to someone that's 19 years old. Just put it out of your mind. But just also know I have to come in like on point.
Yeah.
I have to be 100% better than everybody else because I'm 18 years old and they're going to have preconceived notions. Yeah. So wait, there was another part of that question. What the hell was the part of that question? All right. So here's what it was. Now I remember. This is the biggest thing. And I'm not going to give you the answer, but I'm going to pose the question to you and I want you guys to think about it and develop your own thing. If there's 10 real estate agents, if you're 2 real estate agents and there's 6 other real estate agents standing next to you and somebody wants to sell their house or buy a house, sell a house, let's say. And they say, all right, the 6 of you guys here, trying to figure out who I'm going to use. I don't know any of you guys. Who's the best real estate agent here? Is everyone going to raise their hand?
I wouldn't.
You're not going to raise your hand?
I wouldn't raise my hand. And I would say because I would truthfully.
Okay.
I would look at them and I'd be like, it's not because if someone says you're the best, usually not the best. I would pose it more of as like a question. And I would say something along the lines of it's who's right for you, who's the right fit for you, who do you click with, who has the right strategy for you. Like that's our biggest thing. That's one thing like I believe right now. Every realtor most realtors have lost the idea of marketing because they think in today's market it's going to sell no matter what. But if you market it on top of how today's market is, I just think it'd be so much better. Like it would do so much better.
So no, I mean, great point. But just ride with me on this for a second. So let's say the person turns around and says, who will do it for 4%? Would you raise your hand?
That's the thing. I don't like the whole value off of
Don't
price.
argue with me about this shit. I'm trying to make a point, goddammit.
I don't like
If
value
someone comes to you and says,
Yes.
would you do it?
Yeah.
If I'm like, here, I'm going to give you a listing, you have to do it for 4%. Would you do it?
I would do it.
Yeah, he is difficult. Now I know why you fight. It's not her fault. It's your fault. I'm telling you.
I'm sure it is.
So I do it for 4%, right?
I would.
Who does the best marketing? Who's the best marketer here?
You would say
Exactly.
Me, yeah.
So the point is, every realtor is going to stand up and they're going to say that they're the best or they'll do it for whatever.
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, I'm standing there trying to figure out who's going to list my house,
Mhm.
and I still don't know because everybody's supposedly the same. So the question I have for you that I want you to think about when you walk out of here is, what really makes you different? And what's really your value proposition that you are going to pitch to people to differentiate yourself from everybody else? There's no answer for that right now. You just have to think about it. That's what it is. Like, that's the difference between you getting listings and everybody else. And that value proposition has to be so badass that the fact that like Anne, who's been doing this for 37 years and has sold 95 houses, it doesn't matter because your value proposition is that nasty.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have a house that smells like cat pee? Dated from the 1960s, 6 inches of mold, human waste. I'm quick, I'm easy.
You should come to me and not him.
I
I'll
wa-
list your house and get you more
I wanna
money.
buy it.
He's an investor and he'll just do a cash price.
So that's bullshit. See, that's not what you do. You should say, bring it to me, I'll bring it to him, then I'll buy it, give it back to you, and everybody will make money.
Never mind, you should do that.
Yes, remember that. Selflessly giving while wanting nothing in return is how you make a lot of money in this world. She knows that. Nick and Nat, love you guys. How would people follow you on social media? How do they get in touch with you if they have a house they want to buy or sell because they want to support the cause?
Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and that's the only platforms,
Yep.
right? Nick and Nat Realty, phone number 516-578-7468. His is 516-347-1193.
That's a wrap.